All right, we're going. Okay, I'm actually very excited for this one. So, today, let me also open up a Twitter tab. Today, Jesperi Kotkaniemi signed an offer sheet offered to him from the Carolina Hurricanes. So let's get to the Carolina page and see the announcement and get the numbers as well. Oh, jeez. Carolina. I think this is an interesting. Well, I mean, we all know why. So, if you remember, 2 years ago, the Sebastian Aho RFA negotiations were going on. It looked like Carolina was doing what Carolina was gonna do every time, and lowball basically all the way to the end. So Montreal, with abundance of cap space and extra picks, thought, okay, we will throw him an offer sheet. And it wasn't the most ridiculous offer sheet. I think it was like 7 years for 8 million, a little over 8 million. Very worth it for Sebastian Aho. I think he just came off a 100-point season or something like close to that. And Aho signs it, and Carolina just kind of laughs. They just kind of say, okay, yeah, we'll match that. This is ridiculous. Not only did they, if you remember, not only did they say we're going to match it, they're going to say we're going to wait the entire length of our period to match the contract, because what that does to teams is that means their cap is dedicated to this offer sheet, so they can't go out and throw money around the same way you would if you didn't do the offer sheet. So they kind of did the most they could to annoy the Canadiens, but they weren't done. This offer sheet, so Montreal's offer sheet was, we want this player, and they're not. We know that Carolina lowballs, so we'll shoot our shot. Everyone saw it as sort of a kind of a deal to Carolina because it was a good deal. It honestly wasn't an overpayment. Offer sheets should kind of be overpayments. And you look at this offer sheet, this is literally like egregious trolling in a way of GMs saying like, I'm going to get you back and it ain't going to be fun, which is going to be interesting. So if we look at the cap situation here, they're projected, they're over the cap right now. They're over the cap somehow. I mean, not somehow, we know why. They don't have a lot of great deals on their roster. And you look at, is Kotkaniemi like on the Hurricanes right now on cap friendly? Oh my god, he is. Okay, funny. So even while he's off, we're over the cap over here in Montreal, which is tough. Like, I mean, they think they do have plenty of LTIR space left over. Yeah, they have space. But you look at Kotkaniemi's stats. So the deal was, let's find the numbers real quick. Let's pull up Elliot Friedman. Elliot, if you don't follow Elliot Friedman and you're trying to be on hockey Twitter, he is a must follow. You have to follow him. Base salary, we'll keep this up because this is funny as well. Base salary, $6,100,015. $15 being Kotkaniemi's number. Signing bonus $20. That's Sebastian Aho's number. So they're clearly sending a message. If it wasn't clear, this is clearly just a reaction to. So $6 million player, what are you getting? What do you get? In all his seasons, almost 80 game plays, kind of 34 points, not a 6 points per game. Shooting percentage 8%. So keep these numbers in mind. Keep the shooting percentage in mind. This is the shortened season. I think he was in and out of the lineup. I don't think there was a major injury, but 8 points, 36 games. That's a bottom pairing, minus 11. Bottom. I mean, we don't like plus minus, but the thing I'm worried about is that he had this almost the same number of points in under half the games. 10% shooting percentage. That's not bad. 20 points in 56 games. This is a sort of middling player. You'd pay this $4 million if he keeps this up, if he plays in the PK, if he has intangibles, if he's defensively responsible. Only 12 penalty minutes, so that's fine, right? This is fine. shooting percentage. So if we're like going to average this out, we're going to say he's a little under. So you can expect even more goals from this guy, probably. And you look at the playoffs. The playoffs are misleading. People are saying that, Jesperi Kotkaniemi actually had a breakout playoffs. Be careful to do that, okay? So his career playoffs, his shooting percentage skyrockets. So let's just look at the last run. Last run, he had a good run. 8 points in 19 games, 5 goals. He scored big goals. 14 penalties in 14 penalty minutes. So that's 7. So you have a penalty minute for every goal, which wasn't a big deal. We remember the Canadiens had a really good penalty kill. Shooting percentage 17.9%. You can be clutch in the playoffs. That can be a thing, or you could have had a hot playoffs, right? It's one or the other. I wouldn't take the chance. He's too young to be saying, okay, he's just clutch. He's not Justin Williams yet. So this is an overpayment. And not only is this an overpayment, this is a 1-year deal. Which means he's going to get overpaid. So let's go through a scenario. The scenario is Montreal matches, as you said. We don't want to lose Kotkaniemi. We don't know who's going to be our center. He's a center, right? He's their plan, and they just lost Philip Deneau for nothing. And so who are their centers? Foley's a winger. Hoffman's all winger. You can't put him in center. You could maybe say Josh Anderson could play center. Maybe. Paquette as a center. These are your centers. Caulfield's a center? I don't think so. You're going to have to make Jake Evans play center. Nick Suzuki's definitely a center. Who are their centers now if Kotkaniemi goes? So that's the argument. Here's what happens in that scenario. Kotkaniemi came off of a year, played, where is it? This is last year. 20 points, 56 games. I expect him to have a better year next year. 5.7 shooting percentage. It would make sense for him to play better. His deal runs out. After playing better, after making $6 million, that negotiation is going to be brutal. And if the last RFA negotiation led to him signing an offer sheet, it's a fair bet he'd do it again. And it's a fair bet that Montreal's going to have to deal with the same thing again. It's not going to be like, there's no way there's going to be a mutual understanding like, hey, listen, that offer sheet was a one-off. You made a lot of more money than you should have this year. Let's do a reasonable deal, okay? You're not this guy. That's not going to happen. He's going to ask for more, and he's going to expect more, and they're going to have to trade him. And it's going to make their lives hell. So here's what I would suggest. I would suggest you do not match it. You take the first, you take the third. The compensation for this offer sheet is a first and a third, which is good. That's fine. Yeah, I would. The question is, would you trade Kotkaniemi for a first and a third? Honestly, I would. I think he's a good player. I think he's about worth that. Maybe you're making a little bit more in terms of assets. But Montreal, you shouldn't be doing that. You're trying to win now for the last couple of years you have out of some of these guys. Moving on. What you should do from there is do whatever you can to take those assets and flip them to get Jack Eichel. You have to get Jack Eichel because you have no centers. You do not have an answer at center. The problem is with Jack Eichel, you're going to have to rush. You're going you are now in a position of need. I think Kevin Adams is going to really run you. It's going to be tough. I really think this offer sheet screws the Canadiens because there are not a lot of great options for them. If they lose them, they're really screwed in the center position. Their only option, from what I can think of, to be competitive, make the playoffs, and maybe make another run, is get Jack Eichel, and you're going to have to give up a ton of stuff to get him. So this is hard for Montreal. I don't like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to enjoy this, and their fans are going to enjoy this during the offseason, and that alone. There are two scenarios here. Now, I think Carolina really should cross their fingers that this gets matched. Because if this gets, we remember with the Aho thing, it's easy to not really see during the season, and forget that Aho signed an offer sheet, and forget that it's easy to forget that Aho signed an offer sheet. It's easy to forget that Shea Weber signed an offer sheet because they didn't move. If you move, it's easier to remember. Or Who's the other one? Thomas Vanek. Thomas Vanek signed an offer sheet. When they match, it's easier to forget. If Carolina ends up getting Kotkaniemi, first off, puts them over the cap. So now this is their team. And I don't like this for them. I think they're inherently worse than last year. Second off, this is where the old boys club is going. You're going to see it. You're really going to see it. I think you're going to see Carolina unable to make deals. I think free agencies, or I think come trade deadline, you're going to see nothing. They're going to be maybe a little bit out of a playoff spot or just in, so they're going to look to add, and they're not going to be able to do it. Maybe they're going to look for another goalie because Antti Raanta is going to get injured, probably. They're going to look for something, and I think the door's going to be closed for a lot of teams, because I'm trying to think today, is Mark Bergevin a respected GM? And I look at the deals he makes, and he makes decently fair deals, and he doesn't screw people over, but he gets a lot of deals done. Like, he's able to do stuff, which makes me think when Mark Bergevin calls, people answer, and they like him. So there's a lot of people that could see this and see Don Waddell and be like, dude, I'm not making deals with this guy. This guy's looking to screw me over. I'm not doing it, which is not a good spot. Like, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be in a spot where this is their team, and they're not going to get much help. And, you know, the only person they'll be able to call is probably Steve Yzerman. You don't want to do that. This is a really good PR stunt. I don't think this was a good idea by the Hurricanes if the Montreal doesn't match. If Montreal doesn't match, then the Carolina Hurricanes, I think, overpay in terms of money and assets. I mean, maybe Jesperi Kotkaniemi, this is under the assumption that Kotkaniemi will say he's on 20 goals, 20 points. Let's say he gets 40 points next year. He'll get 40 points, half a point per game, which I think is a little much to expect from him. If he plays, he's gonna be a third line center on this team. Where does he play on this team? You just got Derek Stepan. He's probably a third liner. Trocheck and Jordan Staal already are ahead of him. Sebastian Aho is center. Where does this guy play? Are you gonna put him on the wing? You paid $6 million for a winger who, at best, will get 40 points? Okay, already an overpayment, and you have a first and a third for him for 1 year. And then he's probably going to ask for more from you. This is going to be a hard negotiation for you. Also, the other thing I thought of for this is if Montreal matches, it's not going to be good for Kotkaniemi. He's not going to want to stay because he's going to turn into William Nylander, but wearing a Habs jersey. In the fact that he's young, Habs fans are just as vicious as Leafs fans, if not more so. They're vicious but French, which is tough. Also, he's making too much money. Signed an offer sheet. People are like, he doesn't even want to fucking be here. You can easily make these like cases and arguments. And it's like, dude, you don't want him on your team. My message to Mark Bergevin, don't match it. There's no point. It's not a good idea. Take the first. Here's what you have. You have your first this year. You have your first next year. You have 2 firsts this year or next year, right? Or like we'll say this. 2022 is this year's draft, so we'll say this year. So you have 2 firsts if you do this, 3 thirds. The Habs always have draft capital. You have next year's first. I would say give them Carolina's first. Give them your first. Say there's 2 firsts this year. This is a strong draft. That's what you say to Buffalo. Give them who's a prospect. I'm looking. They're kind of already on the team, aren't they? I think Jean Mizek's a name. I think he's a name. I can't find a good project. I don't really know these guys, I'll admit. If there's someone who like would make sense, please let me know. If they don't like Romanov, honestly, give up Romanov. Give up Romanov. That's a big payment. Like, say, Romanov 2 firsts, I think that gets it done. And if they need something else, give them another third. And I think that'll get it done. Oh, you also have to unload. So I think if give them the extra third and then give them, Jesus, there's a bad deal here. There aren't a lot of awful deals that you'd want to unload. Ugh, damn. It sucks because I'm thinking like Jonathan Drouin is always injured, so just get rid of him. But like this will be the year he doesn't get injured. Yeah, I don't know. You gotta make that work. It's 10 mil, so they're already using 2 mil. So how much do they have left? It's gonna be 11 million. So they're close. They're close to being able to make this happen. They would need to move one person. It would be like, you already get rid of Romanov. It can't be a defenseman. Ugh. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I'll throw my hands up. This is a hard deal to make. I don't know how you shave a little money. You need to shave money. But yeah, overall thoughts. This is more than payback for the Aho thing. I don't think Carolina needed to do payback for the Aho thing, but this is clearly what that is. They're literally making fun of them. That's the thing. Like, and Hurricanes Twitter feed is hilarious. Please check this out. This is hilarious. This made me laugh because it's in French. Right? And this is also, this is great. I love it. The chirping's great. This is an off-season win. Come the regular season, if Montreal's the match, Montreal's on top, by the way. I think I want people to pay attention to the Hurricanes. And if they have a really quiet free agency when people expect them and project them to have a loud one, remember this. Remember this. There's no way they're making deals with teams like the Islanders. Like, if you can think of an old guy GM, they're not. No. Like, they could make deals with Kyle Dubas. If they could make deals with Steve Yzerman, but they're not going to be good deals. Steve Yzerman's going to ship off them frickin' Troy Stetcher for 2 firsts or something. They're going to rob him. Or like a second and a third. It's going to be tough. Yeah. Funny move. I'm glad they did it. It's very entertaining. But do I think it was a smart move by the Hurricanes? No. I think this is a bad idea and it's not worth it. Because I think if Montreal's the match, I think they are more than screwed. Do they have LTR space? No, they don't. They're just flat over. They're just over. Yeah, bad move. I think it was a bad idea. And I think Montreal, if they're smart, they don't match. They say goodbye. Because it's not worth it. You don't want Kotkaniemi on your team. He's going to get grilled every night by those brutal Habs fans. They are relentless. Yeah, I really liked this today. This was really entertaining. Twitter was amazing. I had fun making this video. Leave comments if you thought this was a good idea by the Canes. What you think Montreal is going to do. Do you think that they need to now go for Jack Eichel? Because they don't have centers. I mean, the truth is still there. I think this is a bad move for the Canes, but it still screws over the Canadiens pretty bad. All right. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.